All right, so we're almost done with the CROT operations for the user. We can create new users. We can let's see, what else can we do? We can find existing users. We still need to be able to update a user, right, and remove a user, right? So let's do first being able to update an existing user, all right? So for instance, if I log in, if I log in as Alice. Alice, right? I like to be able to change the name or the email and whatnot. All right, so let's work on that. So let's see, where would we do that? First, we'll need a button to be able to invoke the fact that we want to update the data. Yes? So let's go to the controller for the profile. So let's close this, close that. Okay, and let's go to the profile. So here's the profile view. And we have the username, email address, with all the do new lines, so it's easier to read. Okay. Okay, so we have email, we have username, first name, last name, and whatnot. Okay. All right. So on the controller. Let's put this over here, and let's go to get the controller for this. There it is. What I'd like to be able to do is send an update invocation to the controller, right? So I like to create a brand new button called update, and we're going to paint it green. So this is success. There it is. I'm not going to actually navigate anywhere, right? Instead, I'm going to do an ng click. I'm going to say model.update, and I'm going to update user. And I'm going to pass the data for the user, which is model.user. There it is. Everybody good? All right. So on the controller, I need to be able to listen for that event handler. Right. So we're going to do model.update user is going to be implemented in a function of the same name. And it's going to be implemented down here. So the function update user, and here's the user object that we're receiving from the template, correct? And to do that, typically we would use the user service to do that. All right. So presumably there would be a user.update, user service dot update user, and I'm not sure. Did we implement that? I forget. Let's see. Assignment, graduate view, controller, service. Where's the service? This is on the profile controller. Where's the service? I guess we never implemented it. All right, let's look at the service. Yeah, we never implemented the update, right? So, so this update user would receive. Let's see. One common thing to do is for the signature for an update function is to give me the ID of the entity that you are updating, some primary key that uniquely identifies the entity, and then the actual instance of the object, okay, with the new values. So we know that the ID is inside of the user object because we went and fetched it from the server, right? So we have it here, right? And we know that the ID is in there, okay? And the new values are in that user object which was just passed from the template. Yes, right? So let's implement that on the service. So this is on the service. So let's see, service, right? Actually implemented in a function of the same name. Right? Let's put it here. Function. There it is. Which takes as argument the user ID and the user object that we want to update the values. The URL is going to be the same as the find user by ID. I'm going to grab that. Actually, I'm going to grab the whole thing. Okay. So it's going to be the URL. Notice that I have appended the user ID, so because I am identifying a particular instance of those entities that I am manipulating, right? That's the URL. I'm going to use a put right? So if you're creating something, you use post. If you're retrieving something, you use get. If you are manipulating or changing or mutating something, you use a put. That's the URL, and these are the new object values. Yes? And this is going to go out to the server. The server is going to respond, and we're going to unwrap it here. Hear it again? All right. So on the server side, if we try to do this, right, and we try to change the values and say update, notice that the server complains saying there is no such URL, API, assignment, graduate user 123. Yes? With a put. Notice that we did send a put. We did send the object, the new data, see that? With the bogus first name, right? So it went out to the server, but nobody on the server was listening. Right, so let's go on to the server to implement that. So let's go on the server, and we're going to listen for put. It's going to be very similar to this. So there's going to be a put, right? User ID, and this is going to update the user, right? And we're going to implement it right here, and it's going to have the request and response. We're going to retrieve the new object, the new user. There it is. Right? It already has the ID. Okay. But we need to find it. Where is it in the array that we want to update? Yes. Let's see. I believe we have here a function that looks for users by user ID. I'm going to copy that, paste it here. So this finds the user by ID. When I find it, we're going to update users, sub u. We're going to make it equal to the user we just parsed from the body. Yes? Right? I'm going to do a wholesale replace. Right? Typically you wouldn't. Right? Typically you would only update those attributes which have updated. And that's actually what MongoDB does. Right? When you pass it and you set the values, right? It only changes the one that have been modified. Okay? But I'm lazy. I'm going to do it, just a wholesale replace. Yes? Right? We're done. We're going to send back a status. We're going to say, okay, everything went fine. Yes, we were able to change it. If instead we went through the entire array, we never found the user, they asked us to update, we're going to send back a status of 404. We never found it. We never found that user. You're asking us to update something that doesn't exist. Okay? All right. So if we restart this and we go back and we try again and we update, let's see. Oop, we got a 500 error. Oops. Let's see what happened. We don't have a user ID. Right, probably. Let's see. Yeah, user ID is not defined. Okay. All right, so let's try that again. So where is user ID? It's part of the parameter. So we need to extract it from the parameters. So this is going to be request.params.userid. Okay? Let's try it again. Let's restart the server. Let's refresh. And Alice, if we do an update, notice that it's no longer complaining. And we sent the correct values. And the preview is that we got an OK. All right, so we were able to update it. And indeed, if I refresh my page, notice that Alice was indeed updated. Yes? What about the email? If we update the email, notice that what gets sent to the server. Notice that we do send the first name, we do send the last name. Wait, last name? Why is it Wonder? All right, we'll check on that in a minute. But notice what's missing from here. Notice the email is missing from here. See that? Even though I did type something in there, maybe I didn't map it to the model. Let's make sure it's mapped to the model in the template. Where's the email here? Email. Indeed, we never mapped it to the model. Maybe that's why. All right, so let's do model or ng model equal to model.user.email. Probably the last name we didn't do either, right? So let's do the last name here. We never mapped it to the model, so that's why it was not being changed. There it is. So this is model.user.lastName. Okay. All right. Let's refresh. So Alice has been changed. So Wonderland. All right, so I'll change that to that. And here I'll change it to Alicia. Okay, and the actual email, I'll go with Alice, some gibberish, because I just want to show you something. I'm going to say update. Notice that what gets sent is indeed the new last name, the new first name, but notice the email is still not here, even though we did map it to the model, right? Let's see if we called it, if we typed it correctly. Model.user.email. Look, that looks right. Okay, and the reason it's not making it in there is that Angular does some minor validation, right? And if this doesn't match type email, because we did say it's a type email, see that? So it's going to do some minor validation, right? If you're asking for a number, if it's a type number and it's not a number, or you ask for dates, it's not a date, right? It's not going to make it part of the model. Right? It keeps the model pristine. It keeps it with correct data. So if you put here Alice at wonderland.com and do an update, notice that this time around the email is indeed in the model. Make sense? And if I refresh, notice that the values indeed made it into the server. What we might want to do is that when we get back an OK from the server, what we might want to do is provide some feedback. Notice that the controller is totally ignoring the promise that is coming back from the service. See that? Right? And that might be okay, right? It's been updated. It is working. But something we might want to do is use that response from the server to provide some feedback to the user that indeed it was successful, right? So this function up here, the first function, remember, is a success function. This will be called if we get an OK, right? So here we can say model.message user update successful. Update was successful. Okay, and then on the template, do we have a placeholder for this? We have model error, okay, but we can have also a model message. The model error, maybe we can paint it in danger in red, and message we can paint it in info in blue. So if we get a message here, right, we're going to display the message in nice cyan blue. So we update this and we change Alice back, Alice. And we update, notice that we have the user update was successful. Make sense? Awesome.